Most people know the names of their emotions, but not their shape.
That line just, it stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
It really does. Because if I ask you right now, how are you? You'd probably give me a label. You'd say, I'm stressed or I'm happy.
Angry.
Right, angry. We have the words for it. But if I followed up and asked, okay, but what's the shape of that stress?
Mm.
Where are its edges? Is it spiky? Is it moving?
You'd get a blank stare.
Exactly. Or you'd think I was speaking in riddles. But that provocation is exactly where we're starting our deep dive today.
It's the opening line of the book we're exploring, Ghosts of Emotions, by the philosopher Pedro Malha.
And we should probably clarify right up front, because the title sounds a little ethereal. It's not a ghost story.
No, and it is definitely not your typical self-help book. 10 Steps to a Happier You. This is not.
It's far from it.
Yeah.
Pedro Malha is a philosopher, and these are essays. He's also the founder of something called the Ghosts movement.
Which, again, might sound a little spooky.
It does. But when you actually dig into what it means, it's incredibly grounding.
It really is. The ghost movement is described as a quiet philosophy of recognition. It's about naming things like memory and presence, all the unseen layers of our lives.
And the core idea is that we allow what endures inside us, these ghosts of feeling, to be seen clearly. And this is the crucial part, held without the need for fixing them.
Or explaining them or trying to transform them.
That is just such a relief to hear. We live in this culture of optimization, right? If you're sad, fix it. If you're anxious,
Hack it.
hack it. Optimize your mindset. And Malha is just saying, no, put down the toolkit.
Exactly. He says we treat emotions like they're software bugs that need to be patched. But this whole movement, it suggests we stop trying to transform everything and instead act like, well, like cartographers.
Cartographers.
Map makers.
Malha calls this book an atlas of emotional life. And if you think about a map, the map isn't trying to change the mountain into a valley just because the mountain is hard to climb.
It's just showing you where the mountain is so you don't walk off a cliff. Precisely. Malha argues that emotions aren't problems to solve or symptoms to cure. They're movements.
Movements. I like that. It implies they're dynamic, they're not static.
They have a beginning, a shape, and a natural point of rest. And here's the idea that really anchors the whole thing. Completion is not resolution.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because usually when I think of an emotion completing, I think, okay, great, it's gone, I resolved it.
And that's the trap. Resolution implies it's fixed, or replaced by something better. Completion just means the emotion has, well, it's finished speaking.
It's had its say.
It's had its say. You've recognized it fully, so it doesn't need to keep screaming at you to get your attention anymore.
So the goal isn't to be happy all the time. The goal is just to make our emotions less foreign, less frightening just by knowing them.
When it's recognized, an emotion settles. That's the entire mission. Just let it settle.
Well, let's start with the emotions we all think we want, the so-called positives. Malha starts with joy. And I have to admit, after reading this, I think I've been getting joy wrong my whole life.
I think most of us have. We tend to mistake joy for, what? Excitement? Or pleasure.
Yeah, the dopamine hit of getting something new, the I just won the lottery feeling, or even just, I bought a new phone.
But Malha says that's not really joy, that's excitement or satisfaction. He argues that true joy is actually about alignment. It's about coherence.
It's a sense of rightness, of being unopposed by the moment.
And the example he gives is so small, it's almost boring.
It is. He talks about washing a mug.
Yes. It's not about the mug itself. It's about the state of your body. It can happen while you're washing a mug or noticing the light on a wall or hearing a familiar voice.
It's quiet.
It's very quiet. It's that moment where your shoulders drop and your breath deepens without you even trying. Your whole system just says, I am safe here. I'm aligned here.
But we miss it because we're looking for fireworks.
Yeah.
We want the crescendo.
We do. And that's where it gets distorted. When we chase joy as a goal, like some high we need to maintain, it just gets exhausted. True joy completes itself.
It comes, it aligns you, and then it recedes.
It doesn't demand to stay. Pleasure demands repetition, Do that again. Joy just is.
That is a huge distinction. Okay, let's move to the big one, love. Malha's take on love is fascinating because he sort of strips away all the Hallmark card stuff.
He does. He says love isn't just affection, it's a signal of significance.
It's an intelligence.
It's an intelligence, yeah. It identifies what matters enough that you're willing to be affected by it. It reveals dependency. And in our hyper-independent world, admitting dependency is It's terrifying.
It is. It's basically saying my stability is now linked to this other person or this thing.
Exactly. Mala says, love literally reorganizes your nervous system to protect what you now value. That's why I feel so heavy sometimes. It's not just, I like you.
It's you are now structural to my world. You're a load-bearing wall in my psyche.
What a great way to put it. And the distortion happens when we try to rush it or correct it. I shouldn't care this much, or turning it into an obligation.
We try to make it safe, bureaucratic.
Right. And when you compress love, it becomes heavy. But when you just recognize it, just admit this matters deeply to me and I am dependent on it, it creates coherence. It quiets that search for explanations.
You stop asking, why do I feel this? And just accept, this is significant. So we've looked at the light, and now we have to look at the shadows. Although, I guess the ghost movement refuses to even call them negative emotions.
That's right. The book completely refuses that binary. Sadness and anger aren't bad. They're intelligent. They have a job to do.
Let's start with sadness, because usually if I'm sad, my first thought is that something's gone wrong. I'm malfunctioning. I need to get back to baseline.
Mallah just flips that on its head. He says, sadness signals investment. It marks where you've placed value and care.
So if you didn't care, you wouldn't be sad. It's the emotional record of impact. It's the receipt.
I love that. It's the receipt. And it's a protective mechanism, too. He calls it a brake. Think about it. If you lose something truly valuable, a person, a job, a relationship, and you just keep running at full speed, you are going to hurt yourself. You'll shatter.
Sadness is the brake.
Yeah.
It slows your whole system down so you can't process the loss too quickly.
Because if you did, you wouldn't actually process it at all. You'd just skip over it.
And erase the depth of what you lost.
Exactly. Sadness forces you to stop and acknowledge that reality has fundamentally changed. So when we try to cheer up too fast, we're fighting our own body's intelligence.
We're overriding a system that's just trying to honor what we lost.
Precisely. And the beautiful thing he says is that when sadness is recognized, it doesn't have to vanish. It loosens. It shifts from this dominant, crushing weight to a companion that just sits alongside your other feelings.
So it stops being the whole room and just becomes a piece of furniture in the room.
A very necessary piece.
Yeah. Then there's anger. I feel like anger gets the worst PR of all the emotions. We're terrified of it.
We are. We associate it with violence or destruction. But Malha defines anger as the protector of integrity. It's a boundary emotion.
The alarm system.
It's a signal that fires when a boundary is crossed, when consent is assumed, or, and this one hit me hard, when silence is mistaken for agreement.
Oof. When silence is mistaken for agreement. That explains so much of that simmering resentment we can feel. You're at a meeting or at a family dinner, someone says something, and you stay quiet to keep the peace.
But inside, you are burning.
Yes.
That burning is the anger trying to do its job. It's saying, hey, that wasn't okay. And that's the key. Anger only becomes toxic when it's rushed or suppressed or misnamed.
Like when you tell yourself, oh, I'm just an angry person. You make it a character flaw.
Exactly. But if you see it as a guard dog bunking because someone just stepped on your lawn, you can say, okay, I see the intruder.
And once you acknowledge the intruder, the dog stops barking.
It does. When it's fully seen, anger softens, it becomes resolve, it calms down because, as Mala writes, there's nothing left to argue. You got the message.
You know where the line is now. Okay, let's go deeper into this atlas. We have the guardians. Fear, disgust, and shame.
These are the heavy hitters of survival. They're the ones watching the perimeter.
Fear is obvious, but Malha makes a distinction between passing fear and marking fear.
Right. Passing fear is situational. A car swerves, you jump, it's adrenaline. But marking fear, that's structural. It tracks the edges where harm has happened in the past. It's the guardian of your continuity.
It's trying to keep our story going without fatal interruptions.
Yeah.
It remembers where we got hurt before.
Yes. It haunts those edges. And the healing, he says, comes when we let fear update its files. We have to recognize it so it can separate a past threat from the present reality.
Otherwise, it just keeps replaying the old tape, warning you about a tiger that isn't there anymore.
Exactly.
Now, disgust.
Yeah.
I usually think of that as, a bad smell, spoiled milk. It's very physical.
It is that. But Malha goes deeper into relational disgust. He says it's a boundary emotion that signals this is not to be taken in. And that applies to people and behaviors, too.
Like when you feel slimy after a conversation with someone who is manipulative. You literally feel like you need to take a shower.
Precisely. That's relational disgust. It's protecting you from a violation of your dignity. The problem is, we often turn that disgust inward. If we're treated badly, we might start to feel disgusting ourselves.
We think, I feel gross, so I must be gross.
But Maha clarifies that disgust started as a protection. It was a shield. It was saying, keep this out, not I am bad. And recognizing that is huge.
Which leads us right into shame, the one we all hide.
Shame is the monitor of belonging. It's deeply relational. It's always watching for exposure.
The book makes this distinction that I found so helpful. Shame is the shift from something happened to something is wrong with me.
That is the crucial shift. That's where it becomes toxic. When shame isn't allowed to complete its cycle, it calcifies into identity. I made a mistake becomes I am a mistake.
But if we recognize it, what happens then?
We see it not as a verdict on our character, but as a response to risk. It means we cared about belonging, and we felt that belonging was threatened. Paradoxically, shame is proof of our humanity.
It's proof that we care what the tribe thinks, that we're not sociopaths.
Exactly.
Okay, this next section, this is for anyone who has ever felt like they're just going through the motions. He calls them the quiet states: numbness, disappearance, and loneliness.
And numbness is so often judged, isn't it? We think it means we're cold or we don't care.
Or that we're broken. Why can't I cry? Why don't I feel anything?
But Mala argues numbness is an incredibly intelligent defense. It's designed to conserve energy when the cost of feeling becomes too high.
The cost of feeling. Wow.
Think about the electrical system in your house. If there's a power surge, a breaker trips, the lights go out, that's not a failure. That's the system saving the house from burning down.
Numbness is the breaker tripping.
Yes, it protects your coherence. If you felt everything all at once, you might shatter. So numbness steps in to hold the line, which means you can't force it away. You can't just scream at yourself to feel something.
No, that just reinforces the danger. You have to recognize it as a valid protection. Thank the guard at the door.
And eventually, when it's safe, the guard will step aside.
Then there's this term he uses, disappearance.
Oh.
I never heard it named like this, but I knew exactly what he meant.
It's hauntingly accurate, isn't it? Social thinning, being physically present but internally gone.
It's when you're at the dinner party, nodding, smiling, passing the salt. But you are miles away. You're ghosting your own life.
He says it comes from prolonged pressure or unmet hope. It protects you against disappointment by flattening the peaks before they can even rise. It's a boundary when no other boundary is possible.
You can't leave the room, so you leave yourself.
And then loneliness. Real loneliness. Not just being alone. Mala calls deep loneliness the state of being internally unaccompanied.
That one, that hits hard. Internally unaccompanied.
It's when you've changed. Maybe you've grown or grieved or evolved. And the people around you just... they haven't found your new location yet. You're sending out signals, but no one's picking them up.
And again, the cure isn't just frantic socializing.
No. The remedy is just acknowledging the gap. Loneliness settles when you stop trying to fix it and simply admit, I am not being met right now. It sounds sad, but there's a restfulness in it. It stops the frantic search.
It sounds like the theme here, over and over again, is just stopping the fight.
The war against the self, yes.
Let's look at the horizon for a minute. Time, hope, grief, and loss. He draws a really sharp line between hope and optimism.
This is a vital distinction because we use them interchangeably. Optimism is an expectation that things will get better. It's a prediction.
I think the market will go up.
Yeah.
Which sets you up for a crash if it goes down.
Right. Hope is different. Mala says hope is simply the refusal to declare everything is finished.
I love that. It's going to be great. It's not over yet.
It holds the door open for possibility without demanding a specific outcome. It's a stance you take, not a prediction you make.
And finally, loss and grief. We talked about sadness, but the grief feels bigger in the book. It feels like the landscape itself has changed.
Loss is what signals that something mattered. It's the record. But grief is a measure of presence. It reveals how deeply another person was woven into your sense of orientation.
Like literally how you navigate the world.
Yes. When a loved one dies or leaves, the map is suddenly wrong. You reach for the phone to call them and realize they're not there. You turn to share a joke, and there's just empty space.
Your internal GPS is broken.
Completely. And the work of grief isn't to get over it. It's to protect us from the fiction that life can just snap back to normal. It holds the reality of that change steady, forcing us to redraw the map.
And the resting state of grief, does it ever go away?
He says it doesn't end. It quiets. It becomes part of the texture of life rather than the dominant condition. It goes from being the storm to just being the weather.
It's always there, but it's not always raining.
Exactly.
So if we look at the ghosts movement as a whole, at this entire philosophy, The big takeaway seems to be that recognition creates rest.
That is the synthesis. And it's so radical because it feels passive, but it's incredibly active. We spend so much energy trying to wrestle our feelings into shapes that are more convenient.
For our work, our partners, our self-image.
And Malha is just saying, stop, look at it, name it.
And what I found most provocative, and honestly a little frustrating at first, is the book's closing assertion. He says that nothing is asked of the reader.
No techniques, no homework, no 10-step plan, no breathing exercises.
It feels illegal in the self-help genre.
It does. It's certainly bad for repeat business. But his point is that our emotional life doesn't need instruction. It needs recognition.
Because if you instruct an emotion, don't be sad, be happy, you just repress it. You distort it.
But if you recognize it, you allow it to move. It implies a trust in our own design, that we aren't broken machines that need a software patch.
We're living systems that know how to process experience, if we could just get out of our own way.
It's a philosophy of trust. Trusting that the shape of your anger or your joy or your grief is correct. It is exactly what it needs to be.
Which brings us back to that quote he leaves us with. When an emotion has finished speaking, it will rest. That is enough.
That is enough. We so rarely feel that way about our feelings, do we? We always think we need to do more. But maybe we just need to listen until the sentence is finished.
So, for everyone listening, the next time you feel that tightening in your chest, or that fog of numbness, or that sudden flash of heat,
don't ask, how do I make this go away? Don't ask what's wrong with me. Ask, what is its shape? What is it protecting? What is it signaling?
Observe this shape. Be the cartographer. Don't try to fix it.
And see if, just by being known, it settles.
That is a deep dive worth taking. Thanks for unpacking this atlas with us.
It was a pleasure to explore.
And to our listeners, we'll see you in the next deep dive. Take care of your ghosts.